Hey everyone. Uh, it's your favorite ignoramus here. Um, and today I wanted to talk about something serious. You guys already know when I have my glasses off, when I sexily, no, I'm just joking. Take off my glasses, that's when I talk about something serious. But I did want to talk about, um, being ignored. Like, and being ignored is one of those things that I like. It's one of the most hurtful things that you, as a person trying to get into relationships with other human beings, can experience. And of course, I mean this in both in terms of, romantic and friendship wise. And as a disabled person, um, this is probably, I know it has been mine, the most common um experience that you have with able-bodied people across sexual orientations, across races, it doesn't matter. Um, One thing unites all of those, and that's that they all ignore um disabled people. Now, I'm not trying to say that it's exclusively bound to disabled people. If you have um some sort of condition that affects the way you look, that wouldn't necessarily um disable you per se. You're gonna have that same response. And I mean, yeah, yeah, man. What can I say? Like I said, it's so heart-wrenching. It's so. See, I can't even find the words. All I can think of is something a communications professor told me, that no message, no communication is also a form of communication. The words you don't say, what you don't do, what you ignore, oftentimes says a lot about you more than what you pursue and what you actively take part in. Um, and I wanted to take this time to share my experiences. I'm gonna start with friendships and then move into the relationship arena. Um, and before I say this, I just want to say I'm not saying that these people owe me anything, but I do think that they are clear examples of me um getting ignored because of the fact that I am in a wheelchair, that I do have a disability, or that I can sometimes be awkward. Um, and the first experience is just kind of more common. It's kind of more of a general experience. What I've noticed, and again, I'm not saying this is restricted to just disabled people, so calm down. That's not the claim I'm making. But I've noticed that in a group, if you are disabled, um, and you express an idea, people will sort of just brush it off. They'll say, like, oh, yeah, whatever, Gabe. But if an able bodied person, especially a tall able bodied person, either man or woman, says it, then, oh, all of a sudden it's a great idea. Why didn't we think of that? And I've literally seen, that's literally happened to me before. Um, And I just want to ask you guys, do you think that would happen to someone who was conventionally good looking and tall in a group conversation? Of course it wouldn't. Of course it wouldn't. And but it happens to a short disabled man. Of course it does. Like that's just like I talked about looks mattering in another video. This is probably its the most common form of that phenomenon. Like I don't know what else to say about it, and like um next is just people not wanting to hang out with you. And again, this is all sexual orientations, all genders, all whatever, right? It doesn't really matter. I'll give you an example. So I have this friend, and this example is even more funny because this example is from a friend whose sibling has my same condition. The only difference is that his brother has accompanying intellectual disabilities and this person works at the Ark. If you don't know what the Ark is a community organization for disabled people in the United States. He works there, brothers and sisters, but I mean, despite that, he can't take some time out of his day and he actively ignores like I'll give you an example. Okay, so we reconnected after a long time in May of 2022 and we started talking, we started making plans to meet each other again cuz he still lived nearby and and so we do that, right? And I tell him, look, man, I'm going on a trip in June. It's gonna be till late June. And he's like, all right, man, let's shoot for August. Um, I'm like, all right, cool. So August comes and he actually does follow through. I'll give him credit for that. Um, and when we're done, he we're at my house. We had gone out to lunch, whatever. Like, I was happy seeing a long, not lost friend. We just, I guess, didn't communicate that much, um, through high school. And he suggested this, not me, by the way. So I'm there, we're at my house, and he gives me a big hug, and he says, I love you. Oh, something I can't remember the exact words, but it was something in the ballpark of like, I love you, man. Let's do this again sometime with my brother. Um, because I want to hang out with all three of you. And I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. I would love that. And so he leaves. And, we he wishes me happy birthday when my birthday rolls around. This is all through messages, by the way. I wish him a happy holidays and stuff. And I eventually went like about 2 or 3 weeks before my spring break, because I told him I was gonna start grad school and that this was when I would be on spring. Around that time was when I would be on spring break. And so I hit him up. I'm like, let's do something with your brother. Um, and no response, no response. I'm like, okay. And you know, it's been a year later. I still haven't gotten a response. Now, I just to give him the benefit of the doubt, I tried again this year and several times, but he never responded to me. The most he does is look at my Instagram stories, but again, I'm not sure why he he doesn't want to hang out more. I've reached out, guys. I've reached out. Um, and another one was, I mean, basically all of my female friends, they've never, like, they'll come to my house or wherever I want to go one time, but from then on, either they'll say they're super busy, um, or they just will say, well, you have to come to me. And I've had this said to me verbatim. I will come if I have to, but I really don't want to drive to your house. Um, and in most cases, my house is not that far away from where they live. It's like a half an hour drive, man. Um, with traffic, it's probably like 40 minutes, man. And I don't even ask to hang out that much. Maybe a couple times a year, dog. Um, and yeah, but the most common response is literally just not responding to me. Um, there was this girl, or I mean, it's not really just one girl. I was like, hey man, we haven't seen each other in a while. We should get drinks completely platonically, completely as friends. Um, and you know, we they told me that okay, just let me know when and I'll let you know when, and I did, and I was like, look, I'm gonna be busy for this long, but if you want, we can shoot for this date. And about a week before, I was like, hey man, are you still interested in having a drink? Um, and they just leave me on red. They just leave me on red. Um, I don't know how else I can say it, but yeah, I just don't get a response. And then, now they're not mean about it. They're not like, and like I said, we've made our platonic intentions completely clear, right? Like, I constantly call her friend, she calls me friend. We, like, that's not the issue. Um, but yeah, they just leave me on red. I've had that happen multiple times. Um, the the biggest one is when you're crushing on that guy or girl and you see that they're out with others and they pretend that they're busy, or they leave you undelivered, bro, but they're out with these other people. Do you know how much that hurts? Do you know how much that makes me feel like I'm just kind of just tolerated, that they don't care about me. Um, and again, I had a similar situation happen with a guy that I've known for 10 years, where for the last 4 years, guys, 4 years and almost 3 months, because we're halfway through February, I've been trying to see him. Um, and honestly, he just never gets back to me. I hit him up and he's like, yeah, I hope you're doing well. He sends me pictures of him and his wife and stuff like that, but he never follows through. He just ignores my messages. and he's all like apologize, and like honestly guys, like I give him the benefit of the doubt because I feel like, well, not just him, everyone really. Feel like that's more of a reflection on my character if I don't, rather than their, um, as the gospel says, how, or as I guess Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive my brother? Well, you should forgive him or her 77 times. And I do try to do that. So I do that because again, it's about my character, not theirs, and I believe in breaking the chain of reciprocity and everything like that, and that, as C.S. Lewis said, reciprocity, or I'm sorry, love is never wasted because it does not depend on reciprocity. But I would be lying if I said that I wasn't at least somewhat resentful of being ignored. Um, and I would be lying if I said that it didn't hurt me. I would be lying if I said that it didn't make me feel like I was an absolute trash can of a human being. Uh, I would be lying if I said it didn't make me feel like there was something inherently wrong with me. Um, and that's why, honestly, and I'm glad that my audience so far hasn't deemed it to be a problem. But when I talk about disabled people turning to their own communities to try to solve their loneliness problems and stuff like that, I get a lot of pushback. But the thing is, if you're ignoring us, and if, let's be honest, people don't make friends with disabled people intentionally. They don't go out of their way to do that. If you think that, you're wrong. Um, Now, of course, not all, but this is generally speaking, let's be honest. But disabled people do go out of their way to try to be friends, and more than that, with able-bodied people. But if, we can't force people to be our friends and girlfriends and boyfriends. So again, this is something that I've encountered more in person. Why are you mad when we say that we only want to date those that are also disabled and try to form a strong community? That's like gaslighting us about why we are perpetrators of our own oppression, which we're not. And I'm not saying that to be a victim. In fact, advocating for disabled self-determination and community services is a response to that, that says, no, we're not victims. And honestly, I'm tired of being ignored. I'm tired of it. And people need to know that this is an issue. They need to be called out for it, and that's what I'm doing right now. See you guys.